It happened on a windless Tuesday night. The kind of night where the air is too still and the silence makes you uneasy. I was halfway through a documentary when I heard it, a low, guttural hum. Then came the unmistakable scream of a chainsaw. By the time I ran outside, it was too late. My tree, the 98-year-old red oak that shaded my yard, the one I used to climb as a kid, the one I built a swing on for my daughter, was leaning, gashed deep across its belly. Sap bled like tears. And standing next to it, dressed like she was headed to a wine mixer, was Karen, bright red lipstick, platinum blonde hair curled to perfection, heels on a lawn, and a chainsaw in hand. "I warned you," she said calmly, brushing a fleck of bark from her shoulder. She looked stunning. And utterly unhinged. The story starts months earlier, when Karen and her husband moved into the renovated colonial next door. Everyone on the block noticed them, or rather, her. Karen looked like a former pageant queen turned real estate mogul. Designer everything. Skin like a makeup commercial. Even her dog looked expensive. She introduced herself with cupcakes and passive-aggressive comments about my cluttered landscaping. I knew then, trouble was coming. Karen's main issue? My oak tree. It stood close to the property line, not over it, but the shade extended into her yard. She claimed it blocked her afternoon light and dropped dirty leaves on her lawn. I offered to trim the branches. She declined. Instead, she filed 3 complaints with the HOA. All denied. She even hired an arborist to try and prove it was diseased. He said it was one of the healthiest oaks he'd ever seen. That only made her more furious. The night of the chainsaw ambush, I called the cops immediately. Karen didn't flee. She stood there, smirking as the tree finally cracked and collapsed, taking down part of her fence and scattering wood like shrapnel. It was a hazard, she insisted to the responding officer, a no-nonsense woman named Officer Grady. I did what your city wouldn't. Officer Grady raised an eyebrow. With a chainsaw. At midnight. Karen shrugged like it was a shopping trip gone slightly wrong. The next morning, I contacted an attorney. The damage wasn't just emotional. That tree added over $10,000 in property value, and it was protected under the city's Heritage Flora Code. Cutting it without a permit? A felony. Karen was served with court papers by Friday. But Karen wasn't the type to back down quietly. She lawyered up. Wore silk to the first court date. Smiled for local news cameras. Her defense? She claimed the tree was an immediate safety threat and cited vague photographic evidence of leaning, which my lawyer dismantled with timestamp drone footage and expert witness testimony. Still, the trial dragged on. Karen painted herself as the victim of bad lighting, of falling leaves, of a man who terrorized her with an ancient tree. Meanwhile, my yard looked like a war zone. The stump sat like a gravestone. Then came the twist. One of Karen's own contractors, a man named Tito, came forward anonymously. He'd been paid in cash to trim branches, but when he showed up that night, Karen handed him gloves and a ski mask. He bailed. She didn't. We had testimony. We had motive. And now, we had intent. The felony charge stuck. Karen cried in court. Even in tears, she looked like a magazine cover. But the judge wasn't swayed by mascara. She was sentenced to community service and ordered to pay full restitution. A month later, a new red oak was planted in my yard, courtesy of Karen's bank account. It'll take years to grow, but the roots are solid. And the best part? The judge issued a permanent restraining order. Karen moved out within 2 weeks. Her house sold to a retired botanist. Karma couldn't have picked a better ending. If poetic justice served cold is your favorite dish, you're in the right place. Smash that subscribe button, share the video, and drop your own neighborhood horror stories in the comments. Because here at The Mirror Moves, the truth cuts deeper than a chainsaw. News stories weekly. Let's plant some justice.